Okay, this is 5.1, 210 in your textbook. We're talking about multiplying polynomials. All right, so just before we start off, we want to define what a polynomial is. This is from the Getting Started section of the textbook of Chapter 5. It's an algebraic expression. It's formed by adding or subtracting terms. So here are three different examples of polynomials. Okay, remember polynomials, we want to have more than one term. Okay, and here there's two terms, three terms, and two terms. And just for clarification on what a term is, it's a number or variable or the product of numbers or variables. So a variable being x, a number being 3, the product of a number and a variable is 6x squared, and the product of a number and two variables is 3x squared. Okay, so what we're going to be learning today is how to multiply two binomials. Okay, so we know what a binomial is. It's a polynomial with two terms. All right, so the first example I'm going to go over is on page 214. Okay, and to do this, we have a word that we use that helps us remember the steps involved. Okay, that word I hinted at yesterday, or last class, which was Monday. We call it FOIL. Okay? If you can remember FOIL, hopefully you'll remember how to multiply two binomials. Then what FOIL stands for, this is very important, you guys should have this in your notebooks, right? Copying this down. First, outside first, outside, inside, last. Okay, that's what it stands for. And at first you're probably going to use this and maybe recite it, but then after a little while you're going to be doing this so often that it's going to be second nature, and you'll probably stop saying the word FOIL. You'll just be doing it automatically. Okay? And what FOIL is, it's just it's a word that helps us remember a process like the distributive property. Okay, so if you guys are familiar with how to do this, okay, does everybody feel comfortable doing this? Right? So what you're doing is you're multiplying what's outside the brackets times each term inside the bracket. So we know this is 15x plus 3x squared. Okay, everyone's comfortable with that. Now when we multiply two binomials, we're doing the same thing. However, we need to multiply the first term times the brackets, but we also need to multiply the second term of the binomial times the two terms in the brackets. Okay? So FOIL is a process, it's an additional process to the distributive property. All right, so to do that, fancy word and the way we remember it, is the first multiplication we make is the first term. So the first term of each bracket. So you're going to multiply x times 2x. So this then, I'm just going to rewrite the question down here. The first terms I'm going to multiply. So we get 2x squared. Then I'm going to multiply the outside terms. So it's the complete outside terms of both brackets, outside. So x times 3. Then I'm going to multiply the inside terms. So I have plus 4x. But finally I'm going to multiply the last terms. Don't get confused and say the last terms are these two numbers, because you think that they're last, they're on the right hand side. It's the last terms of each individual bracket. Okay, same goes for the first terms. It's the first term of this bracket multiplied by the first term of this bracket. Okay, so the last terms then is 2 times 3 plus 6. Okay, and finally the last step is to gather like terms, which you're familiar with doing. Just combining that 3 and the 4. Any questions there? Okay, so what we did then was we used the distributive property with x, so we're multiplying x times the bracket, and then we're multiplying the second term times the bracket. Okay, so first, outside, inside, last. So you can think of it using FOIL, but you can also think of it as the distributive property. You're distributing x to this binomial, and you're distributing 2 multiplied to this binomial. Okay, and the only trick may come when we deal with some negative signs. Okay, but other than that, that's today's lesson. So we'll go through some other examples. X plus 2, x plus 5. Anybody want to try this one out? Steven, give it a shot.
It would be x squared.
Yeah.
5x.
Yeah. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay.
Plus 5x. Plus 2x.
Yeah.
Plus 10.
Okay, and then you simplify. Gather like terms. Sorry?
X squared plus 7x plus 10.
Done. Good. Moving right along. Sebastian.
Okay, so it's x squared
Yeah.
plus 4x minus 2x minus 8.
Which is?
X squared
Yeah.
plus 2x minus 8.
Good. Nice. Okay, Kyle, you're up.
So 3x squared
Yeah.
minus 15x plus 7x. Wait, is it? What am I out? And x plus 2? No. Minus 35.
Good.
Minus 35.
And
3x squared minus 8x minus 35.
good. All right, a little trickier. Okay, there's two ways you can do this. Okay, when we have a number in front of two sets of brackets. One way is that you multiply the number into the first set of brackets and then FOIL. Okay, so this would then be negative 8x plus 10, all in brackets times this. But I don't like that way. Okay, I don't want you guys to do that way. And the reason why is because I'd rather work with smaller numbers. All right, and so to do that, I leave the 2 on the outside, so equals negative 2. Okay, and now I'm going to FOIL the two binomials, or multiply the two binomials. Leaving the 2, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to multiply the 2 later. Okay, so just like when we do 3 times 5 is 15, and we know 5 times 3 is 15, the order in which you multiply doesn't matter. Okay, that's why there's 2 ways to do this. Okay, you wouldn't get the wrong answer doing it that way, but it can be more confusing by using bigger numbers. So if you have this scenario, leave the number on the outside, and go ahead and FOIL the inside. So who'd like to try this one? Yeah, Michael.
28x squared
Yeah.
minus 24x minus 35x plus 30.
Excellent. So some of you probably already are even forgetting the word FOIL and are just doing the pattern. I don't know if you guys are there yet, but I'm going to tell you very quickly, you won't need FOIL. You just know this got to multiply both terms, this has to multiply both terms, distributive property, and you're done. Okay? FOIL is to help you if you can't remember the order, you can't remember which ones you've multiplied. But the way I look at it when I multiply, I know this needs to multiply both terms, I know this needs to multiply both terms. And that's the order that I take. Okay? Alright, so I'll finish this off, Michael. So I'm going to leave -2 on the outside. What's on the inside of the brackets?
28x squared.
Yeah.
Minus 59x
Good.
plus 3.
Okay, and now you can tell me what I'm going to do next, and I'll let you keep going.
I gotta multiply 2 to all the terms.
Good.
So it would be negative 56x squared.
Good.
Positive 118.
Good.
And minus 60.
Excellent. And you're done. Okay? Any questions on that one? All right. We got one more, and then I'll look for a very hard homework question. This is 3B. This is still on page 216. Okay. Davide, or David, sorry.
So x squared,
Okay, what do I do with the 2?
you leave it.
Okay, I leave it, good. X squared, yes. Don't forget those brackets.
Negative 3x,
Yeah.
seven x,
Positive or negative?
positive,
Yep.
minus 21,
Okay, good. All right, now what do I do over here?
minus,
Good,
bracket,
good, excellent. Yeah, I like how you dealt with that. So you left the negative on the outside, and now you're going to deal with this on the inside.
so 8x,
Good. Yep.
Negative 4x,
Yep.
and then 6x,
Yep.
minus 3.
Okay, excellent. Now keep going.
2x squared,
Yep.
minus, well, plus 4x,
Yep.
minus 21,
Okay.
subtraction sign,
Yep.
bracket,
Okay.
8x squared, 2x plus 2x, minus
Yeah.
3,
Okay. All right. And last line here.
2x squared,
Good.
8x,
Yep.
minus 42,
Okay. Now what do I do here?
bracket,
Bracket.
no, negative 8x squared,
Good. Yep.
negative 2x,
Yep.
positive 3,
Excellent. So he distributed, there's a negative, there's a little imaginary 1 there, an invisible 1, okay? So we need to multiply this negative sign times each term in the brackets, okay? And then the brackets disappear. That's what he did. So negative 8x squared, negative 2x, negative 3. All right, good. And last line,
6x squared,
positive or negative?
negative,
Okay. So he's combining these two terms, yeah?
6 plus 6x,
Good. Yeah,
negative 39.
excellent. Very good. Okay, and now I'm going to look for a very difficult one. That's it for the lesson. So just in summary then, so you can find the product of two binomials Okay, you can find the product of two binomials by multiplying each term in one binomial by each term in the other, and then you're going to collect like terms to simplify. All right, there's your summary. Okay, and now, I'm just going to see if I can find a tricky one. If you guys look on page 218,
Sure.
somebody asked me one.
I
Yeah,
have a question.
yeah,
If two variables are different,
yes,
do you just leave the second variable when you're distributing? Would that number just
all right,
stay
let me
the
show you. I see one, okay? Can you get over here, Nicholas? We're going to show one more example, and then we'll, this is 7E of your homework. Okay, so we have a question here with two different variables, m and n. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is, as I've taught you, we're going to deal with the binomial multiplication first. So we're going to leave the m on the outside. Okay? Now I'm going to use FOIL, or if I can remember distributive property, I'm going to distribute the m to the bracket. So we're going to have m squared. M times negative 5n is going to be negative 5nm. Okay? Or mn, doesn't matter. Negative 5nm is the same as negative 5mn, which is also the same as negative nm5, or mn5, or m5n. Okay? Doesn't matter the order in which you multiply these. I hope that wasn't confusing. But we always like to leave the number in front of the variable, right? So I leave the 5, and when you multiply two different variables, they just sit next to each other. Okay, you can't simplify them further. All right, Daniel?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put a square anywhere, they just sit next to each other. Okay, so m times negative 5n is negative 5nm, negative 3nm, and then positive 15, exponent law, 1 plus 1 is n squared. Okay, now we go to simplify. Sorry, before we do that, we will simplify first. So you could multiply m into it and then simplify at the end, but it's easier to simplify with lower numbers, so we'll go ahead and simplify this to now our last step, we need to multiply the m in. So m times m squared is m cubed minus 8nm squared. Typically, when you do have a variable raised to a higher exponent, you put that term first. Okay, it doesn't matter. However, it looks better, and it's more typical that you would write n m squared n. Okay? One of those things. And then finally, plus 15. M and n are different, so I'm just going to leave the n squared and m on the end. Okay? Any questions there? All right, that's it of the lesson.